Caitlin Clark's on-court skills are insane, but it's what happened off the court that really shook things up. Let's talk about the day Caitlin said something to her mom that she probably wishes she could take back. Picture this, Caitlin Clark, the basketball phenom we all know and love, sitting at the kitchen table with her mom. But this isn't just any ordinary mother-daughter chat. Nope, this is the moment that changed everything for Caitlin. So what's going on in Caitlin's life right now? She's just been drafted by the Indiana Fever, first pick overall. That's huge. But here's the thing, Caitlin spent her entire life in Iowa. Des Moines is her home, where she grew up, where she became a star. And now she's about to leave it all behind. You can feel the tension in the air. Caitlin's excited about her new opportunity, but there's something else there too. A mix of nerves, sadness, and maybe a little guilt. Her mom's trying to keep it together, but you can see the emotions just under the surface. And then Caitlin drops the bomb. She looks at her mom and says, "I told my mom I'd probably never live there again." Can you imagine how that hit her mom? It's like a punch to the gut, wrapped in excitement for her daughter's success. Caitlin knows it too. She adds, "I probably broke her heart a little bit, but I love it." That's the thing about Caitlin. She's always honest, even when it hurts, but you can hear the conflict in her voice. She's thrilled about her new life in Indianapolis, but she knows the cost. Now, put yourself in her mom's shoes for a second. Your little girl, the one you've cheered for at every game, the one you've comforted after every loss, is telling you she's leaving for good. That's gotta sting, right? You're proud, of course, but there's a part of you that wants to hold on tight and never let go. And Caitlin, she's feeling it all. The excitement of starting her pro career, the sadness of leaving home, the guilt of hurting her mom. It's a whirlwind of emotions, and you can bet it's affecting her on and off the court. Here's where it gets really interesting. This conversation, it's not just about moving away, it's a turning point for Caitlin. It's the moment she realizes she's not just playing for herself anymore, she's playing for her family, for her hometown, for everyone who supported her along the way. You see, Caitlin's always been a fierce competitor, but now she's got something to prove. She wants to show her mom, her hometown, everyone, that their support wasn't wasted, that leaving home doesn't mean forgetting where you came from. This conversation lights a fire under Caitlin. It changes her mindset, her approach to the game. She's not just playing basketball anymore, she's building a legacy. Every shot, every assist, every game is a way to make her mom proud, to rep for Iowa, to show the world what she's made of. And you know what? It shows on the court. Caitlin starts playing with even more heart, more passion. She's not just scoring points. She's making a statement with every game. It's like she's saying, "Mom, I might not live in Iowa anymore, but I'm taking a piece of home with me everywhere I go." So Caitlin's off to Indiana, leaving her mom in Iowa behind. But this isn't some fairy tale where everything's perfect from day one. Nope. Caitlin's about to face some serious challenges. First up, imagine moving to a place you've never lived before. That's exactly what Caitlin did. She went from being the hometown hero in Iowa to the new kid on the block in Indianapolis. It's not just about basketball anymore, it's about figuring out a whole new life. Caitlin's used to being the star, right? But now she's in the WNBA, where every player is a superstar. That's a whole different level of pressure. She's got all these expectations on her shoulders. Everyone's watching, waiting to see if she'll live up. And you know what? It wasn't always smooth sailing on the court either. Caitlin had games where her shots just wouldn't fall. Times when she felt like she was letting her team down. That's the kind of stuff that can really mess with your head, but here's where Caitlin's true character shines through. Instead of letting these challenges break her, she used them as fuel. Every tough game, every lonely night in a new city, it all became motivation to work harder. You've got to picture Caitlin in the gym hours after everyone else has gone home. She's working on her shot, pushing herself to be better, because she knows she's not just playing for herself anymore. She's playing for her mom back in Iowa, for all the fans who believed in her. And speaking of her mom, their relationship went through some changes too. At first it was tough. All those phone calls where Caitlin tried to sound upbeat, but her mom could hear the struggle in her voice. There were moments when both of them probably wondered if this was all worth it. You know what's crazy? This challenge actually brought them closer. Caitlin's mom became her rock, her constant support system. Every game, win or lose, Caitlin knew her mom was watching, cheering her on from Iowa. There's this one game that really stands out. Caitlin was having a rough night. Nothing was going right. At halftime, she checked her phone and saw a text from her mom. It just said, "Remember why you love this game." That was it, but it was exactly what Caitlin needed. In the second half, Caitlin came out like a whole new player. She was on fire, hitting shots, making plays. It was like that text reminded her of who she really was, why she was here. But it wasn't just about basketball. And Caitlin started getting involved in the community too. She hosted an event for her foundation, handing out backpacks to kids who needed them. And you know what? That changed something in her. Seeing those kids' faces, realizing the impact she could have off the court, it gave Caitlin a whole new perspective. She started to understand that being a pro athlete wasn't just about stats and wins. It was about using her platform to make a difference. That's when things really started to click for Caitlin. She realized that leaving Iowa didn't mean leaving behind who she was. It meant taking all those values, hard work, community, family, and bringing them to a bigger stage. Remember how Caitlin's game changed after that tough talk with her mom? It's like something inside her just clicked. She stepped onto the court with this whole new energy and everyone could feel it. You know how some players just coast on their talent? Not Caitlin. She took all that emotion, all that pressure of leaving home and turned it into pure basketball magic. Her passes got sharper, her shots more accurate. It wasn't just about scoring anymore. It was about proving something. Picture this, Caitlin's first game with the fever, the crowd's buzzing, everyone's wondering if she'll live up to the hype. And what does she do? She drops 49 points. That's not just good, that's insane for a rookie. The fans went wild and her teammates, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. But it wasn't just that one game. Caitlin started putting up numbers that made people's jaws drop. She was breaking records left and right, making plays that had even the veterans shaking their heads in disbelief. And you know what's crazy? The more pressure she faced, the better she played. It's like she thrived on it. Every time someone doubted her, every time she thought about that conversation with her mom, she used it as fuel. Her teammates noticed it too. They saw how hard she worked in practice, how she was always the first one in and the last one out. Pretty soon, they weren't just following her on the court, they were looking up to her off it too. But here's the thing about Caitlin, she never forgot where she came from. After every game, win or lose, she'd call her mom. It wasn't just about sharing the highlights or getting a pep talk. It was about staying connected to her roots. There was this one game where Caitlin was having a rough night. Nothing was falling and you could see the frustration on her face. At halftime, she checked her phone and saw a text from her mom. Just a simple, "I love you, keep your head up." And you know what? Caitlin came out in the second half and absolutely lit it up. It was like her mom's words gave her superpowers or something. That's when people started to realize Caitlin's relationship with her mom wasn't holding her back, it was pushing her forward. Every time she stepped on the court, she wasn't just playing for herself or her team. She was playing for her family, for Iowa, for everyone who believed in her. And the fans, they couldn't get enough. Arenas started filling up wherever Caitlin played. People who'd never watched a WNBA game before were tuning in just to see what she'd do next. She wasn't just a player anymore, she was becoming an icon. But here's what's really wild. Remember that comment Caitlin made to her mom about probably never living in Iowa again? The one that broke her mom's heart a little? That moment ended up being the spark that lit Caitlin's fire. It made her realize that leaving home didn't mean leaving behind who she was. Instead, it pushed her to bring a piece of Iowa with her everywhere she went. She played with that Midwest work ethic, that down-to-earth attitude that made people fall in love with her back home. And you know what? It worked. Caitlin didn't just become a star, she became a superstar. She was changing the game, inspiring a whole new generation of players, all because she took that tough moment with her mom and used it to fuel her journey.